Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are discussing a 2019 movie written by Richard Curtis, directed by Danny Boyle. It's a take on, I don't know what to make of this movie. An item was there and then it isn't there, and how it affects everything. We are talking Yesterday. And yes, I do have the DVD because I've got most of these DVDs. So we'll go through the opening thoughts on these guys here. We'll do Susan first. Susie, shall we say? There's two Susans. We'll say Susie. Over to Susie for opening.
Okay, fine. My mother likes to call me that. First of all, I'm so sorry in advance. My Wi-Fi connection says it's intermittent, so if I go in and out, that's the only reason. I thought the movie was cute. It was really enjoyable. The first part, especially, it could have been cut a little shorter in the middle. It got a little long. But overall, I really enjoyed the whole thing. It was an interesting take, especially for this group being kind of a weird sci-fi thing in the midst of a rom-com. So I liked it. I think it was be a good way to pass an afternoon. Had some great actors in it. And it was a very interesting question. What happens if all of a sudden certain things disappear? I still don't, no one understands how that happens. That's the one thing that bothered me about the movie.
I think we lost Susie.
I think we have, yeah. I think we've lost her. So we'll move over to Alex and Susan.
With them.
No, Alex and Susan.
Needs to pay the bill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I loved this. I thought that these actors were amazing. Is she coming back? Okay. I thought that the actors were amazing. I love the fact that having gone through some build up in wherever he was from, that he had to go back to Liverpool, and then that he went to Los Angeles, which was pretty cool. I mean, like that whole dichotomy there, like the way difference. I loved the big titles of everything on the screen, and the location was in the same font as the titles of the songs. And that's fun. And I'll tell you more in a little while. Here's Alex.
Yeah, I guess there's other similar movies that they're doing this now. I guess another one was with Bruce Springsteen. I mean, I do like the Beatles a lot, so I guess I do like the concept of the movie. The cast is good. Of course, the premise is a little weird. I can't imagine that there's a storm or whatever that is going to wipe out all the recordings or wipe out all their music. It was there was that other scene that was a little bit weird with the conference room and all that. The movie's cute. It has a good cast. Hopefully they either do too many of these or not enough. I don't know who else they're gonna do. Britney Spears or whomever.
Oh my God.
But then again, I know a lot of people that would.
Of the bees.
Yeah, it starts with the B's. But anyway, the letter B. But then again, I know.
Baby, one more time.
I know some people that would actually be glad if Britney Spears' music was destroyed from the face of the earth. I don't know. I guess that's the trend in the biopics now. I guess they either have to do too much information or set up a scenario that all their music's gone from the world. But it's a little bit of science fiction in a way too. But it's a cute movie.
I mean, Alex, if you think about it, if Britney Spears' music was wiped from history, who would you listen and dance to while you're doing the washing up?
Okay. The cool thing about about this the director Danny Boyle is that he directed things like
The Olympics.
28 Days Later. He directed Slumdog Millionaire. He directed
Hold on. He did the
Train Spotting
Olympics.
2 with Robert Carlyle, for crying out loud.
And Trainspotting 1.
And
Can I
Train
just ask
Spotting
you,
1.
Who's Robert Carlyle?
He was in this movie. He played John Lennon.
We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah, we will get to that in a bit. Alid.
Oh well, the main guys he was on EastEnders. I recognise him. It took me a while to recognise him because he's grown up so much, and I just thought I recognise that voice, and then I thought he was on EastEnders, and then she's off Mamma Mia 2, so I really like that. So it gets
Oh God.
it gets a point there. Apart from that, the film is amusing. I would call it amusing, but it's rather dull. There's not a lot that happens, and it's quite slow. I thought it doesn't need to be this long. It doesn't need to be 2 hours. What does it need to be 2 hours for? It doesn't need to be. You could easily cut off half an hour. But for Richard Curtis, who he wrote this, didn't he, or something? For him to be involved in this, I thought it'd be more laugh out loud. You know, there'll be moments that will really laugh out loud, but I just found the humor was very subtle, and it.
You're talking about Richard Curtis, like when he did Pirate Radio.
Vicar Dibley, Richard Curtis.
And Victor, yeah, but I mean, like,
that's so funny. Yeah. But it's just, it was kind of, meh. I didn't like that he was stealing the songs, and I'm sorry, he was stealing the songs. He was stealing the songs, but as Alex said, what was the whole? Why did suddenly the lights go out, and then they forgot all the music of the Beatles? It wasn't,
Well, yeah, that's.
And I just thought, while I was watching this, I just thought, why not make a film about the Beatles? Why not make it a biopic, a docudrama about the Beatles? Why does it need to be like this? Just make a film about the Beatles. If that's what you want to do without music, just do it. You don't need this guy ripping them off and stealing their music.
Because the reason that they did this is for the same reason that they did it for Bruce Springsteen. It's like it's like it's a Wonderful Life, only with music. And I mean, apparently without the Beatles you wouldn't have Coca-Cola, you wouldn't have
so we got them to blame.
Oasis. You wouldn't have, what was the other one that you wouldn't have?
Harry Potter.
Coca-Cola was around long before the Beatles.
Yeah, cigarette.
Cigarettes were around long before the Beatles.
Yeah, right. So come to me now, shall we? Unless Alid's.
No, I didn't particularly very much enjoy it.
I found this film to be quite soulless.
Yes.
There was no heart in this. As Alid said, Richard Curtis is known for writing good comedy. There was nothing there. There was no laughing out loud moments or giggling moments. And as Susie said earlier, before she disappeared, but she's back now, there was no explanation why all the lights and all the electric power went out across the world. And then all of a sudden, the Beatles disappeared, Coca-Cola cigarettes, Harry Potter. There was no, there was no why. There should have been something there. I don't know. It was to me. It was they didn't use the Beatles songs. It was the actors singing the song. Also, I agree. The Beatles did change the face of music in the 60s. So the world without the Beatles would be a dull place, because they influenced a hell of a lot of people. As I've said before in many other casts, Elvis influenced the Beatles. So without Elvis, there would be no Beatles. Without the Beatles, there'd be no whoever, But yeah, I just don't know. It was, and I agree, it was too long.
Yeah.
It was. They could have cut 30 minutes off this.
Yeah, so many things.
That's what Alex was saying.
It's, and it also proves as well, Ed Sheeran cannot act.
I don't like it when they put real film stars.
A real pop star in.
Real pop
Ed
stars.
Sheeran cannot act.
Oh, Ed Sheeran, yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Ed Sheeran, the ginger one.
Yeah, it was just. I don't know.
I only know him from his guest star spots.
Yeah, as I started to say, that to me it just felt soulless.
Yeah, I the thing is, I didn't connect with it. I didn't feel a connection with it, and that was a real big problem for me.
And I know I'm going to upset Susan now.
Oh yes.
Because, right, Robert Carlyle is a brilliant actor.
Agreed, 100%.
But
I said it. I want to know.
But
he did look the part.
Yeah, it's all right putting the makeup on, the glasses, the prosthetic nose, or whatever. He didn't sound anything like John Lennon.
Okay, that's true. It was just Robert Carlyle speaking as if he were John Lennon.
Yeah,
that's probably why he was uncredited.
If you're going to play a real person, you got to really sort of. It's not just look like it. You've got to put a bit of the accent there.
Yeah.
Okay, agreed. I will take that as a truth.
But Danny Boyle is a mate of Robert Carlyle's. He's mostly said, "I've got a little small part for you. Do you want to do it?" Oh, then. So let's go favourite moments or things you'd change. Let's go back to Susie in case she disappears again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope my connection lasts. I like the fact that they had the whole John Lennon moment in the movie. That was really, really cool. It would have been nice if they had addressed what happened to the other people. But it was nice to hear. In one way, this movie was about this artist whose music just wasn't catching on, right? And then you have this other artist whose music in another lifetime exploded and brought him fame and fortune. And yet at the end of his lifetime, he didn't have that, but he was really happy. And he had a great life and he went to his job. And no, he didn't have all that music. But he wasn't the one that seemed to lose something from not having that experience. The world was, because the world didn't get to hear that music. So I found that whole connection to be very interesting. But yeah, I would agree with what Lee says. It was fun to see. It just there was too much. We didn't need to see the big concert at the end. I think they just spent too much money on the thing. It wasn't worth it. It just wasn't. There wasn't enough there to justify such a high budget production. But if they had edited it, just cut out a whole bunch of stuff, it would have made it so much better. But overall, I mean, it reminded me of a Hallmark movie with better actors.
That is not high praise at all.
No, but there's only so much you can do with a Hallmark movie. Hallmark movies are things for when you are sick in bed with the flu. You don't want to think about anything. You just want to lay back and have stupid...
like Christmas Homecoming?
Yeah, you just want to have stupid, nice pictures in your brain while you're trying to battle a fever. And it was good for that. But I certainly am glad I didn't watch it in a movie theater. But I did enjoy it, except for the length of it.
Yeah, and I feel like.
But see, I do like Hallmark movies upon occasion. It depends upon what mood I'm in.
It didn't really have a focused message. A focus.
It depends. Yeah, it needed to cut to.
Yeah, it needed to be cut down. Yeah.
Yeah, if it had cut down so we understood what the message really was, or what they were trying to convey, then we would. It just got too caught up in itself, I think.
Yeah. So.
Am I supposed to print?
No, not yet. No.
Oh, okay.
Hold your horses. Susie's eager.
Let's go to the love seat.
Okay. Here it's Alex.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I originally didn't want to see this film because I want the original, or I want As Good, like that album World War II and everything, where they had Elton John and Tina Turner and, real musicians doing it. I guess if he's a new actor, he didn't do a horrible job, but I didn't like the way he sang. I didn't like the way he sang Help. I understand if it's 2019, they probably don't want to do it as 1965, and I understand the dichotomy there. And like I said, it does have a good cast, but I was just like, wow, this is really speculative. And also, it's like I thought they did too many songs, so it's very strange. I mean, it's better than Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from 1978, but that's not saying too much. And it had a better cast and a more famous cast, and better singers too. So it's kind of weird. It's like a weird melding of plot, pacing, whether this makes sense or not. And hopefully there's enough technology around so that you don't necessarily lose music. But even I kind of went, yeah, this is going too long. And if it wasn't for the cast, I would have turned it off. I would have said, I'd rather go back and listen to actual Beatles albums, or listen to, all this in World War II, which my stepfather had since 1977, which was a lot better covers from Tina Turner and Elton John and even the Bee Gees, believe it or not, even though the movie was terrible, but they did some good versions of Beatles songs, just not in film version.
But can I just say, Alex, I agree with that. I don't think the songs are great covers. The songs, he didn't sing them very well. I mean, I don't really know many of the Beatles songs, but because I'm not a Beatles fan, but they didn't. I don't think they work. But with Mamma Mia, they really work because the two men were actually involved with that film.
Yeah,
so
but
the
Alex,
actually worked.
Alex, what you've got to realise about this one is this guy was trying to put the Beatles songs together again because they never existed. He was doing it from memory.
Yeah, but I don't think that quite worked.
He was creating how he heard it in his own head. So
I know, but it still doesn't. It would be better if they were just the Beatles songs, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know that. I know that's the take on this movie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't.
Mm.
That was the whole point. The Beatles songs had gone away. They didn't even have hard copy records.
Yeah, but it's still trying to be a Beatles film.
There was this guy, and then there was the two people who were in the Help movie, sitting right next to each other, who actually showed up in person, uncredited. But those were the two people who were in the movie.
Remembered
the other two who remembered,
the man and the woman who remembered,
were actually in the Help movie, and they were sitting right next to each other in the final scene. So I think
there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Well,
that's awesome.
Anyway,
hold on a minute. There wasn't. The two people remembered in the movie.
They were the two in the black and white image from the Help movie.
No, there wasn't. Sarah Lancashire is a British actress. She was in Coronation Street.
Yep.
All right, I'm wrong. Forgive.
And she also
they just looked like those other two people from the Help movie. Fine.
Sarah Lancashire will also
help.
Partners in Crime. If you remember that one.
Never mind.
I just don't.
Oh, you've said Alex.
I was looking for connections. I was digging deep for connections.
Sorry, not this one.
And that's another thing. Sarah Lancashire is a brilliant actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
And she was wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
All they got her to do was go around in a circle singing "We Live in a Yellow Submarine." I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. And anyway. The other thing, the thing that I really wanted is that if they were going to start doing like Let It Be and stuff, that he needed to do drugs before he did those
I didn't
because
yeah,
there
see, I
needed to
didn't
be
like that
drugs
version.
because that when the Beatles went to India and met like Ravi Shankar, who's actually coming to Boston this next week or something like that. Month. Anyway, when they went to India, they did a whole bunch of LSD, and that's what made their music so freaking trippy. Just like the Grateful Dead, you know, it makes it so trippy. That's the common denominator. So where was the drugs, guys? Where was the drugs,
Susan
guys?
wants the drugs.
Please stop.
Susan's all
well,
about the drugs.
I mean, this is the other dichotomy is
Smoke
even
some
I was
pot.
watching the movie going, okay, I know, you know, and I've already brought up that horrible movie with the Bee Gees, but the thing is, again, I mean, this is the other reason why the Beatles songs were so great, because they were innovative, they were written well, they were memorable. And also, not only the drugs part, which you can't do in 2019 because it's not politically correct, but the other problem.
Sorry, Alex.
Yep, sorry. The other problem is, you know, you've had so many different types of music, granted, bad, since, you know, 1975. You've had funk, you've had disco, you've had new wave, and even the Beatles didn't seem to do disco. I mean, they almost were there, but it's kind of like, yeah. So it's a nice thought to give them a tribute, but then again, they don't need one. That's just like Queen. You know, even if he had tried to do Queen, I would have said, yeah, but, you know, you don't need it. So this movie actually probably shouldn't have been made unless they were trying to say, well, somehow young people are so blind that they've never heard of Bruce Springsteen or the Beatles or Queen. What are the chances of that? I mean, except for a few people that we know, most people have heard of those names. So I don't know why you need a movie.
Oh my God, you just killed Alex.
Seriously, no, you don't need a movie
Alex,
for this
okay,
though.
Alex.
Yeah, but
All right,
Alex,
Alex, let's move on.
Alex, this isn't a biopic. It's a
Right? No, I know it is. Thank God, because I'd be really mad. Yeah.
But
So it's just
be.
it's a strange speculative,
yeah.
you know, fiction, and yeah, I mean,
Have
except
you
for
got
the
an
cast, I
infection?
wouldn't.
You got an infection?
No, I said speculation fiction.
Speculative fiction.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, you know, except for the cast, I would have said, oh, this is, you know, a little silly. So I don't know. It just, yeah, it was too long. Didn't make a lot of sense. The songs are from the 60s. It's 2019. Even though the books and the movies and the music and the TV shows were actually very good on both sides.
And the audio and
but
the,
you know, 2019, there's been too many imitators and too many other weird offshoots and stuff to make this film even relevant. So it's kind of like after a while, I just kind of went, I'm wasting my time, aren't I? You know, it's just kind of. And it would be great if it was fun, but it was barely fun.
And Boyle is famous for Love Actually, so I mean, it should have been a hell of a lot more romantic. Okay, that's me. That's me in my bit for about the romance.
bit of romance in there, though. That got on my nerves. I just thought, stop crying, shut up. Yeah.
Have you had your say, Alid, or?
My say is literally, I just didn't care enough. I just didn't care with the film enough to have any favourite moments or any negatives.
You've said it there. I didn't care about the characters.
I didn't care about them. No, couldn't care less. No, didn't feel any connection with them whatsoever. Didn't care.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't believe this. Me and Alid agreeing.
I know.
Jesus.
All right.
Check if the Ravens have left the tower. Anybody?
Get some drugs, quick.
That's what I was saying.
Don't worry,
Where are the drugs?
Susan's got that sorted.
And
she's booking some now.
Lily's character should have fucking come in through the bathroom window. All right. I you know, when they missed that whole opportunity, I was like, what's the reasoning here? How in the world could you recreate this stuff just by road trips unless you really had some weird things happen?
I kind of felt the characters were a little bit unlikable. I just didn't like them very much. I don't know why.
I mean, even the comedy element with Rocky,
Yeah.
it wasn't funny.
No.
He was probably the smartest one out of all those friends.
Yeah, I
He's
didn't
one of
like
the-
him. Yeah.
I just
I just didn't like him. I just didn't
care
care for them whatsoever. I just didn't.
There was no connection whatsoever, in my opinion.
He was the sidekick. He was your snowman. He was the sidekick.
I mean, I connected more with Barbarella.
But anyways.
Well, there you have it.
And especially that angel.
That's going to be our second podcast for this weekend, folks. We're doing Barbarella also.
Can I just say they're happy to show women's breasts, but they never show men's penises.
Anyways.
That's my point.
Anyway.
I mean,
and that's another thing. John Lennon was the one who did the naked lovin' in New York City. And I mean, wow, what a tragedy that was, not having that in our culture.
Come on, hurry up, I need a wee. Come on.
Yeah, anyway, so we'll go final say and score then. Ali.
Oh my God, what am I going to give it? A 4?
Yeah.
Right, you can go for a wee.
No, I want to listen to everybody else's score.
What are you going to give it?
I think that everything in this movie could have been solved by better editing. So that lays at the feet of the director. So everything else, I did like some of the characters in this movie. I saw it as a whole artistic quandary thing that I related to, but it went on too long. And because of that, there wasn't the clarity the movie needed to make things funny, to have it sparkle. And it is unfortunate because you had wonderful actors. But I did enjoy it until it dragged. And so I'll give it a 7.
7, right? Okay.
7.
So, yeah, 7.
Thank you, lad.
Alex and Sue.
7.
7.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading. I mean, the other points too, of course, is thank God it wasn't a biopic because.
Alex, we've been through this. What's your score?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to give it a 5. And it's too much money. It's too much. It's too much money. The Beatles weren't all alive by this time. Just too many liberties. I mean, even if they had said, somehow if they would have been more believable to me if they had said, "Oh, the Beatles music got erased off the internet, but everybody else can have it." You know what I mean? It just seemed like it was kind of like, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
And because Robert Carlyle's in it, I have to give it. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 as well, just because Robert Carlyle is in it, and because it's Danny Boyle who made some
Could
great
you imagine
Robert
if
Carlyle
Susan
movies.
woke up one day and she was the only person who could remember Robert Carlyle?
Oh.
Well, that would make it more interesting movie.
And he was erased from
Oh no! Cry. Alan, you just can't say stuff like that.
Right.
He's crying now.
Yeah, well, for me, it's disappointing. It didn't connect with me. I mean, I love the Beatles songs. I mean, I like any sort of music, but I don't know. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna 6.5.
All right, so our average is about a 6.
In this one, was it a 7 by Susan?
Yeah.
So, not a high scoring cast today, but Danny Boyle, please do better.
Right.
So, thank you guys for joining me talking about yesterday and all our days and days to come. You guys out there, if you enjoyed watching us, please give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment if tell us what you'd like us to review. And before Ali, I've told you can go to the toilet now. Go on.
I'm falling to sleep.
That's how everybody feels like when you go on. So there you go. And then I'm going to carry on going.
And if you've messaged Lee, please message below in the comment box telling us who you are.
Yeah. And I've lost track now. What was it? Message me. Yeah, you'll
And
find
you're
us
going to
on
give us a
Facebook
pay rise. That's very kind of you, Lee.
and wherever, you know, please. If you want to join
Susie's
us.
very shocked. Look at
Can I do
Susie's
that again?
face.
Do that again.
Look at Susie's
Every
face.
time someone speaks, he speaks over him.
She looks. Can you
One of
see
these days-
Susie?
One of these days, I'm going to go to Leicester and wring your bloody neck.
Can I just say? Can you
What?
see? Did you see Susie's face?
Anyway, I think on that note,
Yeah.
Malik can go and empty his bowels, and we'll say
Oh, ouch.
see you later.
Bye.